It's only been 1 week since the last time I posted on my YouTube channel, and yet so much has came out on Ruby Frank and Jody, and it's actually insane. More and more just keeps coming out, and it keeps getting worse and worse. And we're going to cover a few of the things that have been released since I've been gone, and something that has been released today as well. And some of these things that have come out is that Jody and Ruby were using cayenne pepper and honey on the wounds of the children, as well as Ruby living a double life and blaming her kids for everything that happened. Ruby Frank's 12-year-old son says his mother's business partner, Jody Hildebrandt, used ropes to tie him up and then later dressed his wounds with cayenne pepper and honey. Now, if Jody was doing this, it's pretty clear that Ruby was probably doing this too, as you know, their values were pretty much in the same ballpark. They were business partners, best friends. Some even think that they might have been dating each other, having a romantic relationship. So it's not too far-fetched to think that Ruby was doing this as well while she was there learning these practices from Jody and applying it herself. And the only reason why I could think that somebody is using cayenne pepper and honey on the wounds is for a form of torture, discipline, something, or what she thought was discipline, right? This is not discipline. This is nowhere near how you should be disciplining a child or anybody for that matter. If they got wounds, you're not trying to sting their wounds. Why would you do that? So it's a form of torture, and it's horrible. This article goes on to say the presence of any type of remedy for the children's wounds proved that Hildebrandt was at least aware of the abuse that was taking place, authorities stated in the documents obtained. Now, seeing how the article worded it, like she was using these as remedies, I had to do a quick Google search to see if honey and cayenne pepper were remedies for wounds, and this is what I came across. And obviously, I'm not a doctor or anything, so if you guys know more about this than me, then let me know in the comments. But honey can be used as a wound dressing to promote healing. Okay, that's interesting. And cayenne pepper should not be applied to cracked skin or open wounds. So what were they using the pepper for? Were they possibly using the pepper as a form of torture on the skin to inflict pain and then use the honey later on to try to help heal the wounds? Either way, it's nightmare fuel, and should not have been done. And the honey being used as a remedy, it is clear that Jody knew what she was doing. She's not completely lost on this. And there's been so much stuff that has came out that people have talked and proven that she is a very smart psychopath. They were using this as a form of punishment, and it was just clearly torture. By the way, I want to take this moment to do a quick little shout out for my Instagram. If you guys are wondering where I've been, I haven't posted in like a week. I've been on a trip, and I went to New York City and took a lot of pictures. If you want to check those out, go to my Instagram, follow me over there, check out the pictures. I'm uploading more daily. Check those out, like them, and I'll see you over there in the comments. I will have the link to my Instagram in the comments down below as well. And also, I apologize if I sound a little stuffy because, as you know, when you go on trips, it becomes very easy to get sick, and that seems to be the case that has happened with me. So I apologize for the tone shift. Let's jump back into the video now. The boy told officers that two other siblings were at Hildebrandt's house, according to the warrants. Franke had kept the three children in Hildebrandt's care, the warrants further added. Responding officers located the 10-year-old girl at Hildebrandt's house, but did not find the 14-year-old. According to the search warrants, the two youngest children were taken to the hospital. So from the sounds of it, it seems like Ruby was taking her children over there, leaving them, and then going and doing things that she had to do, maybe going back home, etc., etc. And she trusted Jody with all of these things, these forms of discipline, if that's what you want to call it. Obviously, it's not discipline, it's torture. But officers did find in the home 3 ropes, 2 handcuffs, 2 bowls containing a paste of cayenne pepper and honey, bandages, plastic wrap, a journal, and some paperwork, according to the search warrant. And just that description paints a very bad image in my head of what exactly that room looked like and what went on in that room, just from these objects that they had laying around. 2 other warrants allowed police to seize laptops, cell phones, and any video or audio recordings that may show child abuse and any communications between Hildebrandt and Franke. It's definitely going to be interesting if there is anything, any recordings, anything on the laptops that they find that we are going to see in the next coming months. After Hildebrandt was arrested, she said the two youngest children should never be allowed around any other kids, an officer wrote in a search warrant. And this statement plays into something we hear later on from Ruby at her court hearing, saying that it was all the children's fault. Hildebrandt, who is a licensed mental health counselor, has agreed not to see patients until the allegations are addressed by state licensing officials. At this point, if anybody is going to go see Jody after everything that has happened here, then they need help, like a different type of help. Now, with all that said, let's take a look at how Ruby was trying to put the blame on her children for the reason why she was acting the way she was acting and how she was treating her children. Mommy vlogger Ruby Franke blames her kids after child abuse arrest. She shifted the blame on her kids as she sobbed during a court hearing Thursday, Daily Mail reported. Ruby Franke told the court that one of her 6 children had SA'd at least 20 people, including siblings, cousins, and neighbors. I'm curious what you think about what I just read right there. Do you think that that's true? Do you think if it was true, why didn't the neighbors come forward and say anything about it? Do you think that they'd rather keep that on the DL because, you know, they don't want to take much away from what is happening to Ruby? They want her to get ultimate punishment, right? I don't know. It's interesting, but personally, I don't think it's true. That's what I want to believe until there's evidence that comes forward that proves that, because, you know, that's just messed up. And I do feel like she's trying to deflect. She claimed the disturbing allegations included mention of a patting game 2 of her kids would play together, an alleged confession from her kid, and a claim that her child began watching P at only 3 years old. This is my thought process on this. Ruby's youngest child is a 10-year-old girl, right? So that means that this happened before Ruby met Jody. And the reason why I bring that up is because Ruby was very strict, right? She was always on top of her children, going as far as starving them as a punishment. She always had her eyes on them. So I'm confused as to how she was allowing a 3-year-old child to watch P. And the only thing that made sense to me is if when she was leaving her children alone at home for days at a time just to go visit Jody. But she didn't meet Jody until 2022. She didn't start going over there until 2022. So it doesn't make sense that she has brought this up. Because how is somebody like Ruby, who is so strict, going to let something like this just slide and happen and her not be fully aware of what's going on the whole time? And this is why I believe it's like an orchestrated, well thought out plan that Ruby had set in motion to kind of make people feel bad for her, because Jody has done similar things as well, which we know this because of the podcast interview done on Mormon Stories podcast, where they talked to Adam Paul Steed. And he would go on to describe how Jody would calculate these things, plan them out, and set in motion these plans for if they were to get caught and things of that nature. Which, by the way, if you haven't watched that interview, it is intense. And if you are trying to keep up with all of what's going on throughout this whole case, it is very important that you watch it, because it tells a lot, and I mean a lot, about Jody. And he would also go on to say that Jody tries to make people feel bad for her and make it seem like she had to do it. She had no choice. There was no other option. This is something that they had to do in order to, you know, make the sentence less, or maybe not even get in trouble at all. Jody is a master manipulator, and she's done this before and ruined many, many lives. And she definitely wanted Ruby around for that influence factor. She wanted the power. She wanted to have a bigger umbrella and affect more people and make more money. Because at the end of the day, for Jody, it's just all about making money and power. And who knows what evil agendas she had. And on top of all that, it seems that Ruby was living a double life. One of her neighbors came forward and told of things that he was seeing and how hypocritical she really was. Ruby Frank's neighbor brands the disgraced YouTuber the worst mother and accuses her of flirting with other men. A neighbor of disgraced YouTuber Ruby Franke has said they noticed hypocritical behavior before the mommy blogger was arrested and accused of CA. We would see she was with her kids, and then I would see these ridiculous YouTuber or Instagram videos of her pontificating and lecturing and preaching about how to be a mom of truth. And I was like, this is the craziest thing. This is the worst mother I know of. She was very flirty with men to where I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, the neighbor said. They continued, there was an incident, I guess, where a girl wore a two-piece swimsuit at a pool party in the neighborhood, which is normal, right? She just went ballistic, and she was lecturing people in the local LDS congregation about lust and about the evils of this and that and the virtues of modesty, and yet she would be really flirty with men. It's like she feels shame or guilt about maybe the way that she is, the neighbor said, and so she overcompensates, and then we notice the same thing with the kids. And this seems to be a running pattern with both of them, Ruby and Jody, where they are projecting what it is that they're feeling on the inside, kind of trying to punish other people for how they really feel about everything to make themselves feel a little better, look a little better in the public's eye, social eye, and possibly make themselves feel better because they're taking action to kind of diminish what they see as evil. But really, it's building up within them. But it makes it okay for them because they're taking care of it out here. So if they're doing that, then it's okay for them to do it themselves, right? As long as nobody sees. That's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, let me know in the comments down below what you think about all of this absurdity, as well as if you want to support more videos like this, consider becoming a Patreon. Get your name at the end of my videos. The link for that will be in the description. And also don't forget to check out the merch we have down below. I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.